from the franchisor perspective, you are establishing yourself as an expert. You bring a new perspective to things, and it probably has helped more than just bringing on, franchisee number one, of course. Has it helped with awarding some other franchises?
Oh, definitely. If there's any franchisors listening to this, having your own podcast is a fantastic way to let the prospect know who you are. Like so many people hop on a call would say, "Hey, I just binged 50 episodes and I know who you are, and let's hop on a call." It makes things so much easier. And the actual cheat code for me on the franchise support side is I oftentimes interview people who are in, let's say, the cleaning space or in the marketing space. And what I do, which is I call it fireside chat, is I interview them. I let my franchisees listen in. And then afterwards, I shut off the recording and my franchisees can ask them whatever questions they want. So I could get great people on the podcast. My franchisees are supported to get one-on-one time with that expert. And you could just dual purpose a lot of things when it comes to a podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, Neel, that's great. Let's talk more about the MaidThis franchise. What's the investment range on the business?
So we're what's called a low-cost franchise. So the initial franchise fee is $39,000. The all-in cost, including the initial franchise fee, is only 50 to 70. So what's kind of unique about us is, a lot of businesses you start, they want you to get vehicles, wraps, equipment, an office space, crazy amount of leases. I don't want to deal with any of that. That sounds very risky to me, to be honest. If there's a recession, if there's a COVID number two, that's a lot of ongoing expenses for operating expenses. So we're extremely lean. After you get launched, everything is fully online, fully remote. Cleaners go straight from their home to the job site. There's no offices, no vehicles, no wraps. So most of the money after that initial fee goes towards marketing. Marketing for both customers, but remember also cleaners because we're a staffing company at the end of the day.
Okay. What's the royalty on the franchise?
6% of revenue.
Okay. All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's a low cost franchise for sure. And they're going to have more territory than they're ever going to be able to utilize.
Oh my God. Yeah. Especially in the cleaning industry. I mean, things get dirty all the time. Like I'm not too worried if it comes to recession because this is not exactly a luxury good. For example, a vacation rental, you have to get it cleaned before the next guest. It's not like maybe I'll get it cleaned. Like maybe I'll do it next time. It's not, you have to do it. It's a need to have service. So with that, at least for us, and maybe we could talk a little bit more about what we actually do. We have a marketing package, which we kind of crowdsource for franchisees, which covers things like SEO, social media posting. We have an AI chatbot on the website, all the email marketing, everything they need on a foundational basis. We just do it for them because we could rank really, really fast for vacation rental cleaning keywords. Just as you know, Frank, like domain authority when it comes to a franchise website is a lot better than a regular brand new domain. So a lot of times we get franchisees started immediately and they already have leads coming in. And yeah, kind of going back to what we said, we focus a lot on need to have as opposed to just want to have services.
Yeah. Well, the short-term rental business, I've been active in the community too for the last 4 years. And it always comes down to that is the number one problem that we face as an Airbnb host is having a cleaning company that provides a great service. And you're also holding your breath that hopefully they'll show up and you don't have to replace them and things go wrong. And we've been very fortunate, my wife and I, but I've been in many conferences where that comes up again and again. That's, a typical problem. Not to mention, there is more and more short-term rental hosts that have locations scattered throughout the United States. They really have a diverse portfolio. So they can't be dealing with the same cleaning company for the most part. Whereas utilizing something like MaidThis would actually give them that opportunity if the franchise is located in the same territory.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're working now on getting more national contracts for franchisees. But exactly that, we had a franchise owner or an Airbnb host who's a customer of ours in Los Angeles, moved to Salt Lake City, said, "Oh my God, there's MaidThis here. Let me just sign up with them." Because it's easy. We automate everything. We're the only vacation rental cleaning franchise that exists. So many times, like especially as we expand, it's kind of network effects. Not just with branding, but we can simply share leads because we're on a Slack channel together with other franchises. So it works out really nicely.
And one more thing, I cannot overstate this. For folks that are a short-term rental host, they're going to understand this. Cannot overstate the fact that one of the huge advantages of your business is that you offer backup cleaning services. I heard that. And here's why that's huge. Because me, as a Airbnb host, I have a cleaning company. I would love to have a backup company. But how do I tell
Yep.
my cleaner, by the way, I'm going to let this new cleaning company show up once every 3 weeks or something and start introducing them? It becomes difficult because I have weekly rentals. So it would become abundantly clear that I was bringing in another cleaning company where if I went to a source like you have a backup as needed, which I would never have as just an independent person.
Yeah, yeah, Frank, you're gonna love this. Our guarantee is never a no-show guarantee. I think the worst fear from most vacation rental hosts is my cleaner didn't show up. Now you're
Totally.
scrambling. Now it's
Yes.
11 o'clock. You have check-in at 3 o'clock. What are you gonna do? So our guarantee is never a no-show. That's never gonna happen because we have a primary cleaner, backup cleaner always. And yeah, to your point, we also allow like a lot of ways of us getting in with hosts is we'll be your backup. Just
Hmm.
hook us up into the system. Don't sync your iCal. We'll be the backup. We'll get everything set up. That way, if you need us, we're ready to go. Many times that does lead to us taking on the primary slot because at some point that initial cleaner might become unreliable. Something happens in life and we kind of take the slot. So the way the software works makes that really, really easy.
How do you decide how many cleaners a house gets? Do you go by square footage?
It's typically square footage as well as if they do same day check-ins or not. So for example, if it's like 2,000 square feet and they allow same day check-ins, you're going to need multiple cleaners. If it's a 2 bedroom home and there's no same day check-in, you could probably send a single cleaner for that one.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. You can tell I'm asking very personal questions here. And
Yeah, I love
I'm
this.
thinking about my
Yeah.
own business going, okay, here's a challenge. I got same day, my cleaner doesn't show up. How do you
Yeah.
do this? Okay. All right. I'm
Frank, where are
interested.
your Airbnbs?
In Anna Maria Island, Florida.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Florida's probably our hottest market. I mean, 30% of the nation's vacation rentals are in Florida, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it is. It is a great market for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Neel, what about, I love talking about challenges and mistakes that we've all made, and you've been so transparent. Would you share maybe something in the past while you were starting this out? Maybe there was a challenge or a mistake that you made early on that you learned from.
Yeah, absolutely. And Frank, I'm curious, you mean on the franchise side or the
Yeah.
French on the cleaning side?
On the franchise side, I think there's other founders that they would love to hear this because we all go through challenges, and we love learning from each other. So maybe there's an obstacle or a mistake that you made that people can learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. I think on my end would be not focusing enough on the grand launch process for new franchisees. I think what worked 10 years ago for me probably doesn't work anymore, right? Marketing just moves insanely fast. And that's also what I love about the franchise business is many old incumbent businesses, they think, oh, I'm getting leads. It's easy. But yeah, that's because you've done SEO for 10 years, right? And
Right.
that's why. So with every new location and every year, you have to update what marketing is working because it moves so fast. And if you still teach everyone the same tactics that were working 4 years ago, it's obsolete. It doesn't make any sense. So currently, we just invested in hiring someone. We're calling it the Crack the Code Initiative, where we have 3 team members on board who are testing out community marketing tactics and new digital marketing tactics and new vendors and vetting everything with our own money for franchisees. Now, I kind of wish I did this earlier
Hmm.
because the faster I can help franchisees get a jump where it's not just dependent on them is going to make them move a lot faster. What I've kind of realized is when new franchisees start, there's almost overwhelmed. There's too much to do. And
Right.
many times people are not focused with what marketing to do. So if there's things I could do to take it off of their plate, that'll be even better. I think at the beginning I was saying, well, just do these things like that's going to work. And then,
Right.
you meet 2 weeks later and you're like, wait, why was this not done? And that's my fault because I put too much on their plate.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then they leave the honeymoon period really, really quickly and they enter the grind.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's normal in any business, but you want to, the honeymoon period is artificial anyway. But yeah, there's nothing like, they leave training excited, but then once they get home, they're overwhelmed at times. And how do you eliminate
Yeah.
those tasks? That's brilliant.
And it's kind of like you're almost like an orchestrator. They start the business. You want to give them a very quick dopamine hit. Here's a bunch of leads come in. You feel great about your buying decision.
Right.
They will hit the grind phase. They will hit what I call a no man's land phase, where it's like the D stage.
Yep.
Once they surpass that, things are great and they're gravy and things are good. They'll hit another ceiling, of course, at some point, but that's later on.
Hmm.
So the real thing to solve is how do I get them through grind phase and how do I get them through the fee stage or no man's land phase as fast as possible? I did not optimize for that until just this year. So that's what we're focused on now.
That's smart. Well, I hope other founders that are watching or listening to the show heed that warning and do the same. That's great advice. What about your vision long-term for the company, Neel? Are you thinking taking this nationwide? How big is big, do you think, for the company?
Yeah, it's funny, Frank, how much like goalposts move. When it started, I was like, I just need 5 franchises. I got to 5. I'm like, I just need 20 franchises. Now we're at 25. And I'm like, we'll get to 50, right? So
Right.
I honestly, like, I don't have a vision of scaling to 100 and exiting to private equity. That's just not the roadmap. I worked in private equity. That's not exciting to me. I think a lot of people get into franchising trying to get to that magic 100 mark and then exit. That can or cannot happen. So for me, I love doing this and helping out franchisees and helping them escape the 9 to 5 and starting their own business and getting time, location, financial freedom. It's really fun for me. So I'm building this in a way where it's sustainable and where I am comfortable doing it long term. So I want to grow at a sustainable pace too. That means, this year we'll probably get to around 30. Maybe the next year we'll get to between 40 and 50, and we'll kind of keep growing from there. It's moderate, sustainable growth where I could reinvest back into the system and keep it going and make people happy. That's my goal, is making sure everyone is supported, everyone is achieving the lifestyle they want, and it's not too fast for people to get left behind.
Good for you. That's great. And especially coming from somebody who was in private equity before this, and not interested in selling the private equity. What's that all about?
That's probably why, because I know the ins and outs. We never took funding, don't want to.
Yeah.
I started this business because I wanted a lifestyle business, is the truth. I wanted to quit my job and travel. I wanted to support my parents. That's it. Most people who buy into MaidThis franchise want the same thing. They want a lifestyle business which pays them well, which allows them some sort of freedom. And I want the same thing with what I'm currently doing. We're not taking on investment because I don't want to be in a 5-year ticking time bomb. When you take on capital, you have to return that capital to investors at some point. Investors, the private equity fund, at some point, they want a liquidation event. The best way for them to get their money is to have you scale really fast and exit for a certain valuation. Then they could get their money, give it back to their LPs, and everyone's happy. You have a boss at that point, right? When you take on money, here's the truth. You have a boss who you're reporting to. I got into this business because I don't want a boss, right? Because I want to build the way I want to be. And I think people who exit private equity, I think that's a great play at that point. Just kind of realize what you're doing, right? Sure. Who you're getting into bed with. And I think there's a lot of fantastic private equity funds, specifically in the franchise industry, who know franchising and know brands. I think that's a great place to be. Exiting to a private equity fund who doesn't know the industry, who wants to get in and out quick, that's an easy way, in my opinion, to get your franchisees burned.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.